So today what we're going to go over, guys, is the options in Civilization. When you're setting up a game, which is the best way you want to do it if you want to practice anything like deity or whatnot, you have options that you can do. Now you can do basic options like this, or you can go to your advanced setup. I highly recommend advanced setup once you know what all the options do, which I'm going to explain today. So under advanced setup, you're going to start out, the very first thing you're going to notice, you have your city states. You can set as many city states as you want, no matter what the map size is. Now, if you set 41 city states on a dual size map, you pretty much will have no space to even settle. You might have space for your capital city, and that's about it. It's usually going to recommend a certain amount of city states right there. See, it says 2 players with 4 city states. And that recommends the amount of city states and still leaves you a little bit of room to settle a few cities. Now, the very first thing you're going to decide is what type of map type you want to do. Do you want to do random? Do you want to do Amazon? Etc. Each of these are different types of maps. Amazon is going to be something, like it says, similar to South America. There's going to be a lot of jungle. There's going to be a lot of rivers. You're probably not going to have ocean. Sometimes you might. Ancient lakes, you're not going to have any actual ocean. You're just going to have a large lake in the middle. The descriptions for these types of maps are right there. You can read them. If you know a little bit about Civ V in general, you can usually figure out what they mean. Go ahead and play around with it, see what you think. But there's all different types of maps. The most popular maps to play in the game generally are going to be continents. You're also going to have Pangea, Oval, which is Pangea, but Pangea could be a long stringy mass. It could be a large lump. There's a lot of different options for Pangea. Oval assures that your Pangea is going to be roughly a blob, a big oval in shape. You have Shuffle, which randomizes everything. It randomizes all your map options. You could be on tiny islands. You could be on a big Pangea. You could be on continents. Literally everything is randomed. But anyways, map type, pretty self-explanatory. Map size, how big do you want your map? Pretty much, that's it. How big do you want your map? Difficulty level, how hard do you want it? Emperor is kind of my normal difficulty level, even though sometimes it's too easy if I don't have enough AI in it. But most people, a safe place to start if you're brand new to Civ is going to be Warlord. If you're brand new to Civ 5 but not brand new to Civ, start on Prince. Pretty simple. Once you get used to it, you'll start putting everything up higher and higher difficulty levels. It'll be your choice of what type of challenge you want. The different game paces. Marathon means everything is going to take longer. All your units still move normal speed, but building units, your city pops going up, your buildings being produced, your techs, everything takes a while to do. So you're going to have quite a few extra turns in a game pace, or a game this long. It also means, though, that you're going to stay within certain eras for a lot longer. So let's say you like actually fighting in medieval era units with crossbows, catapults, trebuchets, knights. This is going to keep you within those time periods a lot longer than normal. That's what the difference between your game paces are, is how long you want to stay in eras. We generally choose quick for multiplayer because we want games not to take forever. And yeah, if you do a marathon game while playing multiplayer, you're looking at a 10 to 20 hour game. So, but it's just dependent upon, do you want to stay in certain eras longer? That's pretty much what the game pace is all about. How long do you want it to take? Starting your game era. This is the starting era. Which era do you want to start in? Do you hate ancient era? Do you hate using bows and swordsmen and clubs and spears? Do you want to start out with nukes? Go up to the atomic era. Do you want to start out with artillery and riflemen? Go to the modern era. It's all dependent on where you want to start. Do you want to start out with coal, and ironclads and stuff like that? Go to the industrial era. Most people stick with the ancient era, but it's up to you. Whatever you want to start at. World Age. This is something a lot of people don't understand. It took me a while. I learned what it was in Civ 4. The younger your world is, the more mountains, the more hills there will be. The older your world is, the flatter it will be. The idea behind this is erosion. The older the world is, the more erosion has taken place, and the younger the world is, the less erosion has taken place. So you're going to have more mountains, more hills. That's the difference, is what type of environment do you want to fight in? Do you want to have lots of mountains and hills, or do you want to have few, or do you want to have a balance between them? It's your choice. Temperature. If you want it cool, you're going to have more tundra. You're going to have more snow. If you want it hot, you're going to have more desert, also more jungle. Temperate is generally the normal one because then you have a mix of both. Rainfall. Once again, do you want it drier? Do you want more desert? Do you want it wetter? Do you want more marshes? That's wherever you want to go, it's your choice. Sea level. How high do you want the seas? This affects how much land there is actually available in the game. If you have the sea level set to low, you're going to have a lot of land mass everywhere. If you have your sea level set to high, you're not going to have very much land. If you want just kind of normal, medium is your normal. It's a mix of land and sea. The different starts. So sparse means there's not a lot of resources available in the world. Every single city point that you're going to choose is going to be very hard to choose. There's not going to be a lot of options without making your empire very unhappy, very weak. There's not a lot of resources. Standard resources. You know, they're spread around quite a bit. Abundant, there's a lot of resources available. Strategic balance. Strategic balance is generally the preferred resource start because what it's going to do is take the resources and balance them across the map. So there's not going to be all the resources in one little corner of the map and nowhere else has anything. It's going to spread them out pretty evenly to where you're not going to have a really bad start generally. Sometimes you still will, but most times you won't. Legendary start. That is going to take your starting point, and that is going to make your starting point amazing to where you're going to have lots of resources available right at your start where you spawn in. Same for everyone else. But the rest of the world, it's going to be randomized. Legendary start is good if you want a really strong capital city. With most games that we play, we usually do strategic balance. And that's generally the preferred choice. So, your victory types. Time. Time means that you have, I think it's 200 turns, and at the end of 200 turns, the game ends. And whoever has the highest score wins. Most people don't prefer to play this way. It really limits what you do and means that you're literally just going to be going for points. You're not going to be going for generally anything else. You can get other victories within that time, but time, you have a time limit. Most people don't prefer that. They want the game to be over when they decide it's going to be over. As you get better, you'll generally beat the game under 200 turns, but I've had games where I've been at 250 turns. It can happen. Time most people prefer to have off, but that'll be your choice. For science victory is if you can get all the way up to the end of the science tree and build a spaceship to send to Alpha Centauri. Science victory is if you're going for turtling, building a pure science build to where you're just trying to get your tech and your production ahead of everyone else. Science victory is what you're going to go for. You're going to try to build your spaceship. For domination means that's capturing your enemy's capitals. If you can capture all of your enemy's capitals, you don't have to capture the rest of their cities, just their capitals. That will win you the game as long as you hold all enemy capitals. If you capture somebody else's capital, but they still hold another person's capital, you still haven't defeated them. You have to capture every single capital. And that's what domination is. Domination is probably the most popular way to win the game. It's generally the way most people do it. Cultural. You can have your culture slowly overtake everyone else's culture. If you just want to build lots of museums, lots of amphitheaters, build your culture up, build broadcast towers, spawn great artists and great writers, great musicians. You can do a cultural victory. Cultural is fairly popular. Even on higher difficulty levels, cultural is a way to win the game. But keep in mind, at higher difficulty levels, the AI heavily focuses on culture sometimes. And you would have to choose a civilization that is culture-focused a lot of times when you're doing a cultural victory on higher difficulties. There are specific times you don't have to, but That's for another video, and we're just going to talk about that's what cultural victory is. It's just having your culture become influential over everyone else. You don't have to even fight in one war to have this happen. You can just purely focus on building your culture in your cities. Diplomatic. That's getting other civilizations to vote for you. You don't have to get any other civilization in the game to vote for you. The only thing you have to do is get city-states to vote for you so long as there's enough of them on the map. Which, like we went over, you can decide how many city-states there are going to be. Diplomatic is in a thing called eventually it becomes the United Nations. It's the World Congress is what it starts as. And you have to wait until the very end of the game, the last eras. That's when the world leader vote starts happening, and if you have enough city-states as your allies, you can get them to vote for you. Diplomatic is, in multiplayer, very disliked because it's generally considered a very cheesy way to win. You don't even have to have a high military to get it. You just have lots of gold, buy city-states, and have them vote for you, or for Pedro, right? So, anyways, the preferred stuff in multiplayer is science, domination, and cultural. In our multiplayers that I play on my channel, though, we generally have cultural turned off. It's usually just science and domination. But that'll be whatever you prefer. Your advanced game options, max turns. Obviously, game will end when turns are over. That's for time. Once again, generally leave it turned off. AI cannot build wonders. AI cannot spread religion. Well, AI can't build wonders. AI can build a religion, but they can't spread it to any human cities. These are added with NQ mod. NQ mod is the most popular mod for Civ 5. More people play with it than without it. Policy saving. When you're going to get a social policy, it allows you to save that social policy so you don't have to spend it right then. Let's say you're about to move into a new era, you're about to get access to social policies you actually want, but you don't have access to yet because of your technology. You don't have to spend your social policies right then and there. You can save them until the next era that you get into when you want to actually spend them. Same for promotion saving. Let's say you don't want to spend on certain promotions. You don't want to spend on promotions until you get access to new ones. Once again, you can save them. You don't have to spend them right then and there. Complete kills. Complete kills means you have to kill off every single unit, every single city for an enemy civilization for them to be defeated. Most times not turned on, because somebody could just go hide their units somewhere, and good luck finding them. But if that's how you want it, you want to completely kill them off, and that's how you get your victory, go ahead. Disable start bias. Some places like Morocco, Arabia, etc. have, let's say, a desert start bias. The Mayans have a jungle start bias. If you disable the start bias, all starts are completely random. You could have the Dutch starting in the middle of the desert, and the Dutch have a marsh start bias. So they usually have a wet climate start bias. You get them start in the middle of the desert. It could be completely randomized is what disable start bias does. It does not give a start bias to anyone. New random seed means that every time you load the game, combat that would have taken place a certain way in the past is changed. So let's say you were about to attack a barbarian warrior and you were about to completely destroy him in one hit. It could change it to where you're only going to do 90 damage instead of 100 damage. Random seed randomizes the game's seed. No ancient ruins. No ruins start in the game. That's it. No barbarians. No barbarian spawn. That's it. No city raising. No one can destroy each other's cities. Even if they're in a bad spot, you can't destroy them. Generally not turned on because sometimes there are cities in bad spots. You just want to get rid of them. Or it's a city you can't hold. You want to burn it before your opponent can take it back from you. No espionage. Can't spy on each other. Can't send spies to city-states to get their favor. That's it. One city challenge. Humans are only allowed to build one city. That's all it is. It does create a bit of a challenge. Not used very often. Quick combat, quick movement. That gets rid of the animations, like I said in my last video. That gets rid of the animations, the combat animations, the movement animations. They're just instant. That way you're not waiting and watching the outcome. It kind of cuts down the amount of time a game's going to take. Raging Barbarians. This one's kind of fun sometimes. It makes a lot of other players rage if you're doing multiplayer. It's kind of funny because it's Raging Barbarians and makes people rage. This makes barbarians spawn exponentially. There are barbarians all over the map. There's barbarian camps all over the map. Barbarians spawn constantly. It makes it to where it's really hard starting out because you constantly have to deal with a barbarian threat. It forces people to build large militaries to deal with them. It has people sometimes have their cities get ransomed by barbarians, as barbarian units can capture your cities. It's interesting. It forces different play styles out of people. Random personalities. This is for the AI. Certain AI have certain personalities. Like, let's say Montezuma for the Aztecs. Montezuma is generally an aggressive AI. He generally likes warfare. This makes it to where he could be peaceful. He could be Gandhi. Though Gandhi is kind of nefarious when it comes to civilization because he likes to nuke people. It's actually kind of a funny meme where Gandhi likes to use nukes. He's not so peaceful. But anyways, it randomizes the personalities to where all of the AI are completely randomized. You could have an AI that normally is a warmonger, like Attila, being completely peaceful and offering you flowers and friendship. It can happen. That's what randomizing the personalities does. So, anyways, that's all of your setup options when you're messing around. If you have any other questions, you can feel free to visit my channel. I stream every single day, guys. And thanks for watching.